summer lovers. How are you? How's everyone doing? I'm finishing up the tail end of this Two of Swords week, and I'm just wondering how it's landing. It's actually a beautiful liberation. I hope you felt some of that this week. The idea that you can put it down, you can put your thoughts down, your planning down, your strategy down, your analysis down, and just be more in the world. That was the invitation. And damn, it felt good over here. I hope you felt some of that. I hope you felt some of that. Like deep sigh, relax, relief of here is the world and I get to be in it. Aren't I lucky? Isn't that a miracle? It's me, Kirsten. Hey, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast, and this is your weekly mini reading, mini card pull on the week ahead, the week of July 14th, stretching out ahead of us. The card I pulled for us this week is the King of Wands. Do you remember? I think we started this whole series with the Queen of Wands, and they sound like they should be similar, right? And they're not. They're so different. So different. As a reminder, wands are your fire energy. So hey, you Aries, Sagittarius, Leo placements out there. Wands are our fire energy, our heat, our passion, our sexuality, our creativity, our inspiration, different than our intuition. Our inspiration, meaning like the sparks, the things that light us up. It's a chill across your skin of what? Yes, yes, yes. Fire energy is so beautiful. It feels so alive, so sexy, so free, so warm. And the King of Wands, kings are the mastery of the suit. They are the fullness of the suit. They're the completion of the suit. Not the perfection, that would be the three, but the completion, which is the king. The King of Wands is so interesting. There are four kings obviously in the deck, but two of the kings, we say they are the kings who would be men, meaning two of the kings are very comfortable being king. They're like, yep, here I am, and I feel myself. I feel the fullness of me. I feel the journey that I've walked. King of Wands and the King of Cups aren't really sure about this idea of completion, aren't really sure about this idea of settling down into the throne, aren't really sure about this idea of being in charge, being the head of the household, being the one to lay down the law, that kind of yearns to be free, yearns to keep moving, yearns to keep playing. Like, why so serious? Why do I have to be so serious all the time? And if you love a Sagittarius, a Leo, an Aries, you know that feeling, right? Like, they're so awesome. Their boss energy is like, it's on point. It feels so good. For me, the way that fire lands in my body, I have a little bit of fire placement, but mostly I have water and earth placements, a little touch of air. And when I am in the energy of someone who is a fire energy and they tell me what to do, I'm like, yeah, baby. It feels so good to me. I love when a fire sign is fully in their leadership power, their desire to kind of shine and lead the way and make the fun. If you know anyone who has that placement though, or those placements though, you can feel that they also get a little bit touchy about being told to be in charge. So their natural inclination is leadership and freedom and play and creativity and inspiration, right? They love to tell us what to do and to like take us on all their fun adventures. My brother is like this. He loves to be like, this is what we're gonna do, and here's the plan, and here's how it's all playing out, and we're gonna try this new sport, and we're gonna go to this new place, and we're gonna eat this new food. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. There also is that tendency when you tell them to be in charge that they can resist that mantle, resist that yoke, resist that responsibility. And I'm not saying anything about my brother, although I could draw some parallels. But the idea is that they really do love the exuberant freedom of leading the way, and also really find it challenging to be told that they are now in charge, to hold that responsibility. Like, it's heavy, it can feel heavy to them. The King of Wands is the expression of this contradiction, this paradox, the beautiful, brilliant heat and light of the fire sign of fire energy, meeting the very worldly responsibilities of reaching a certain point in your maturation process, reaching a certain point in your life, reaching a certain level of prominence and responsibility in the world as a part of your family, as a part of your community, as a part of your work, as a part of your purpose. The King of Wands is the king who would be a man, which means that He yearns for his freedom. He sits on his throne a little bit uneasily. He sits on his throne with a little bit of a wistful glance at the horizon. So he's taking his response, and I say he because kings are traditionally, associated with masculine energy, but this is not gendered. This is he as in the eternal energetic value of he who is in charge, he who rules, which is different than she who rules, different than she who is in charge. The King of Wands is he who is in charge, who's worked very hard to get there, who's really learned how to master and hold fire energy. And yet they don't really want to stay still, which makes sense, right? If you've truly mastered fire energy, you would not want to stay still. You would not want to be tied down. The energy of fire is it seeks to fly free. It seeks to feel itself and burn itself and move with freedom of expression. The idea that you come to completion with fire energy, it makes sense, right? That's not going to be a place of stillness. So for the king who represents this, he's always looking off. He's looking off to the horizon. He's looking back to his days of being a knight when he could just ride free and romance the world, seduce the world, and get up and catch a flight in the morning. There's this romance around the knight energy that the king kind of glances back at. There's also this kind of wistfulness looking at the Queen of Wands because she's so damn sure. She's so damn confident on her throne. She's so feeling herself. She's just her way of completing fire is to sit in it and hold it and feel it and her own turn on, her own it's it feels good to be alive. I'm a woman who feels my fire, my heat, and I could just burn this all day. I could just sit in this pleasure all day. I could just feel the satisfaction and pleasure of my power all day, and I don't need anything else. The king's man, I want to feel that, but I've also hit the next level, and in the next level I realize that it's my responsibility to shepherd this flame, not just for myself but for the larger world, to be a place, a holder, a torchbearer for fire energy in the world. So when the King of Wands shows up for us in an energy reading for the week ahead, that feels to me like part of the conversation. How comfortable are you with your own power? How do you hold it? How do you sit with it? How do you take the responsibility of being the one in charge, being the one in charge of generating, cultivating, holding, nurturing the fire within you and the fire within the world? It's a big question. If you haven't done any kind of self-development work or any kind of shadow work, you realize that a pretty significant shadow for a lot of people is a fear of your own power, a fear of your own fullness, a fear of if I truly let myself be full, what would happen? There's a intuitive hit, a inkling that could be destructive. And that's right in terms of a woman in her fullness is the most powerful being on earth. I said it. And there's something about owning that is dangerous, for sure. In a historical context over these last centuries, it is 100% dangerous to be a woman in her full power. It's intimidating for yourself and for the people that you love, because in your full power you can take nothing less than partnership, relationship, friendship, where people are also willing to be in their full power. I hope we come to a day when we're all just freaking King of Wandsing it all over town and so into our own fullness that we can be with other people's fullness without contraction, without jealousy, without judgment. But we're not quite there yet. The idea of being in your full power is something that scares a lot of people. You can do a lot of work around that. You can do a lot of work understanding, the beauty of your Kali energy, the beauty of your fierceness, your darkness, your devouring feminine energy in a man or a woman, and still not really even begin to touch it. Still know that there's so much more available to you, so much more you can access. So the King of Wands coming up this week is really interesting, and it's a complete shift from Two of Swords energy. And a lot of the cards we've been pulling, you can kind of see the progressive energy. You can see the evolution, the journey. Two of Swords to King of Wands is pretty significant shift. It kind of feels like something about that Capricorn full moon, something about the 777 energy that followed right on its heels, feels like maybe there's some pretty major liberation occurring. That, as I said in the beginning of this, like my experience of the Two of Swords week was really good. I mean, my experience was, yes, so much more gets done than you realize. Like, you are just not the mover, you are not in charge. There's the part of you that does not need to hold the mantle, that does not need to sit on the throne, that can move more lightly, move with a more spontaneous sense of inspiration and movement. Like, this is what's here now, I handle it, and then the next thing comes. And the pressure that gets leached off of you when you are not the one planning, strategizing, analyzing, solving, it feels really good. It felt really good in my body. And something about the King of Wands feels like this bursting forth, liberation, this phoenix energy, this releasing from some confinement that you didn't even realize was a confinement, which does also reflect back to that Two of Swords energy, because part of what was happening was that program was becoming so, whatever the program was, the mental program, mental analysis was, it was becoming so uncomfortable that you had to put it down. And when you put it down, something else emerged to fill in that gap. And usually it was a deeper sense of power, a deeper sense of purpose, a deeper sense of trustability in your own energetic movements, your own energetic evolution. The King of Wands coming up feels like this bursting forth. What I'll say about feeling him is bursting forth, and what I'm feeling is that, like I said before, that kind of pull to freedom, that pull. Okay, so I'll say this, and be careful what you do with it. Let you handle what that means. If we felt confined, contracted, bound, uncomfortably positioned, and we feel underneath that to how unnecessary that's been, and we burst forth into a new energetic, wow, like this can feel so much better, there may be a desire to cut all the bindings, cut all the strings, like, fuck y'all, I'm out of here. I am out of here. Okay. So if that's what you need to do, then Godspeed and God bless, and may you be free. May you be fierce and free and wild forever. And I just have a feeling that maybe the desire is going to feel really big in you, and there might be a possibility of, I don't want to say burning bridges, but the image popping into my head is like, if you have a hot air balloon and you start to get some height. I've never been on a hot air balloon, so I don't know. So this is the image that's coming to me. But you start to get some height and you're like, wow, man, I'm free. And instead of untying the ropes, you burn them. You slash and burn the ropes. And you're like, I never need to be on land again. And it's like, okay, well, just wait a second. The Queen of Wands would say that. The Queen of Wands would be like, slash the ropes. We're setting for the rising sun. The King of Wands remembers that land does matter, and that we are going to have to come back to the surface one day in a good way. Like earth energy is beautiful and warm and lovely. So the King of Wands will have the desire to burn the ropes, but he'll breathe for a second and say okay, wait, just give me a minute. Maybe I need to just save some ropes for later in case I need to protect the people and land the ship again. So I don't know if that made any sense, but the feeling is like this bursting free that feels so fucking good that you just want to damn the torpedoes? And the King of Wands is going to be that reminder of, yeah, but there are torpedoes. Sorry, this energy is really funny because it's so... Oh my God, in my body it feels so good, but it also feels like that. Or have you ever had a child who's doing something like the flying trapeze, or watch someone you love do some kind of really risky move, and you'll you're so happy at their freedom, and then there's a part of you that's gripping, oh goodness, I hope this is okay on the other side. It reminds me of when my middle daughter learned to ride her bike. She's so freaking cute, and she finally got it, and she was circling around the cul-de-sac in our street, and she just looked at me and she goes, this is the best day of my life. And she just, like, you could see the freedom in her. Like, she would have, like, ridden off into the sunset and forgot that she needed to have dinner that night and that she needed a warm place to sleep. I hope you feel what I'm saying. Embrace the freedom, but keep one foot on the ground, or keep at least one rope unburned in your life. Like, have some sense that there is a great explosive, powerful, exuberant, joyful burst of energy, and you are going to also have to have dinner at some point. Do you know what I mean? So the King of Wands is the beautiful enjoyment of the fullness of my fire energy, the born again, phoenix rising, birthing from the shell energy. But they've lived enough, they've walked enough to know that you need more than fire to make a life. You need more than fire to live a life. Keep that in mind this week. I don't know how this energy is going to show up for you, but I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear about it because it feels so good in my body. And then there's this other part of me that's like, oh, yeah, like, make sure you pack a lunch. Both those things are true, right? We live in an earthly body. We live in a body that needs all the elements. We need water, we need earth, we need fire, we need air. In this moment of extreme joy and exuberance, have some part of you that's tethered to what else. And, or not, I mean, you don't have to. You can do whatever you want, right? You could do whatever you like. Free will for days. But the advice, the idea of the medicine of the King of Wands is to bring your wisdom to this rebirth. Bring your wisdom and your life experience to this rebirth, and know that you are wide enough, big enough to hold both. The last thing I'll say is there is a truth to that, right? We can only spread our wings as wide, as spread our canopy as wide as we are grounded deep, as we are trusting our roots and trusting the ground below us and trusting our bodies, trusting our depth. So, right, we can only rise as high as we root deep. There's something about the King of Wands energy that reminds us of that as well. So I don't know, this sounds hilarious and fun and like a party that I want to be at, but I also am going to remember to drink a lot of water at that party because I could see how everyone could get carried away with their tequila shots. Does that make sense? Enjoy this like hot girl moment of the summer that is going to arrive for us this week. And it's a beautiful practice to allow yourself to be in the joy as fully as possible. That Mary Oliver quote, I just put that on Instagram a couple weeks ago or last week, but joy is not, and again butchering it, but like joy is not meant for crumbs. Like joy is not a crumb. Joy is the whole meal. And this King of Wands energy is like, enjoy the whole meal, savor every bite, enjoy this experience with your whole body and all of your senses, and just be so grateful that you get to experience it. And also remember that you gotta chop wood, carry water in the morning. Feels good. Let me know. Keep me posted. I would love the tea on this because this sounds like it's a recipe for pretty defining moment, a pretty foundational memory in your life of the moment where you burst free. I love you guys. Sending you so much earth energy, grounding energy to balance out the beauty of this fire. Fire energy, when it is running clean, is just, to me, the most satisfying, joyful energy in the world. And I hope that we can all feel that this week. I hope we can all gather a little bit of that. Life is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful journey, and I am lucky to be here. I hope we can gather a little bit more of that into our cells and our bones and our bodies this week. All right, best of luck out there in the open skies and the wide seas and on the hot air balloon with no ropes. It's so funny. Love you guys. Bye. It's giving everything is sacred. It's giving art. It's giving light you up and turn you on and set you free. It's giving curiosity. It's giving freedom. It's giving love. It's giving you are more magical and powerful than you can comprehend. It's giving, I don't know what's happening, but I am so here for it. It's giving you are pure potential. It's giving mystical.